Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Truly amazing timing. What a weekend. What a finish. Just in time for President Trump's 80th birthday. Happy birthday, Supreme Leader. We have a peace deal. It is not signed. It is not sealed. It is not delivered. That'll happen like next Friday. But we have a deal just in time for the big deal birthday bash at the White House tonight with UFC 250. It's the cherry on top. It's incredible. The timing, amazing. Couldn't have happened at a better time. It's amazing. I don't know how they managed to pull it off. Isn't it incredible? It's like something out of a movie. We'll dig into all of that tonight and more in this post-truth reality that we now live in. And everything we're going to talk about tonight is all comes back to that. And we're going to talk about Disclosure Day. We have the movie review. We're going to review the movie tonight, Disclosure Day. And I have seen it. I saw it yesterday in the afternoon, so I could still be with you guys here last night. And there's some questions about some of what we spoke about last night, what I showed you last night. And Mark Carney in Ireland and the G7 and the New World Order. Oh my God, my head's going to explode. As our minds are infected with the new AI mind virus from Elon Musk. Is that better than the woke mind virus or more dangerous? You can decide after we explore all of it tonight here on Maverick News on the other side of this.
We are the Mavericks. Welcome to the Matrix, baby. Hope you like the view. We are the Mavericks. The world is watching. We are the Mavericks.
It is truly incredible. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how he managed to pull it off. But man, we do have this amazing last minute, just in time delivered for Trump's 80th birthday tonight, a peace deal of sorts for President Trump tonight. Isn't it it's incredible, isn't it? I think so. Okay. Let's start digging into it here a little bit, shall we? I need to see if I can get this video. We had, where did it go? Once again, fully prepared and then not prepared. Yeah, here we go. I've got it. Got to get it up on the screen for you, though. A lot of this just available through X tonight. Yeah. reaction pouring in. Oh, and happy birthdays from so many people to the Supreme Leader. As we get this peace deal, it's almost a peace deal. It's a peace deal. No, it's not. Agreement. It's a memorandum of understanding, and that's good enough, right? It's peace. He ended the war. It's all over for the 42nd time or something like that. It's been mediated by Pakistan. It had the involvement, this deal, with others in the region, like Qatar. It appears imminent again, finalized again in principle. It aims to formally end or extend a ceasefire again, reopen the Strait of Hormuz to shipping again. But this time's different. This is the big one because it's the 80th birthday of President Trump, and here he is posting on social media, and so it's like super duper official now. We've got making headlines everywhere. Again, I don't know what it's doing to the stock market or what it will do tomorrow, but I bet you the price of oil will come down. The deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran is complete. Now complete, he said. Congratulations to all. I hereby fully authorize the toll-free opening of the Strait of Hormuz and simultaneously herewith authorize the immediate removal of the United States naval blockade. Ships of the world, start your engines. It's time for the Oil 500 on this Sunday NASCAR weekend. UFC, well, it's not really NASCAR. It's the equivalent. It's like the NASCAR Stanley Cup Ultimate Fighting Championship Super Bowl of the Strait of Hormuz and the world. Let the oil flow, President Donald J. Trump. He didn't put thank you for your attention to this matter, though. That's different on this Truth Social post. Of course, one of the things I have to admit that makes this one a little bit different is we do have a post, if I can find it here, from Pakistan. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just bring it back up. Oh, here's another one from just even more recent from Trump. So I'll show you that. Isn't this exciting? I don't know about you, man, but I am pumped. The great deal will bring peace and security to the whole region. Many presidents have tried to make peace with Iran, and all have failed before me. I don't know if that's really true. The lead, I know he didn't like the deal, but Obama, I don't remember them closing the Strait of Hormuz on him. Anyway, the leaders of the region have, for the first time, found a president who can help them achieve real peace, as opposed to the fake peace, which is not his peace, because his peace, even though they're firing at each other, and Israel is still attacking Lebanon, which is actually, it's very, very connected to everything else. But no, that was a ceasefire, because it had actually, it wasn't just that they ceased, they were still actually firing. So that was the real deal. With the opening of the strait upon the signing of the deal on Friday, for purposes of mine removal, oil will flow on both ends for the region and the world. So the strait's not opening immediately. It'll open upon the signing of the deal, and that's not until next Friday. And with the way things have been going, I don't mean to be a pessimistic kind of guy, a party pooper, but I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen between now and next Friday. I'm looking toward maybe Tuesday to see what happens then. Again, sorry for being so skeptical. I'm not. I'm being super optimistic. How about you? Oh, and it's got to be the real deal because he's doing his Trumpy dance. Look at that on Truth Social. And if it's on Truth Social, you can rest assured it is the truth. The truth. The whole truth and nothing but the Trumpy dance truth. Yeehaw. Woohoo. Peace in the Middle East. Now he can turn Gaza into the new playground for the rich, right? With his new resort that he's going to build there. Woohoo! Sorry. Am I editorializing? No. Not at all. Here's the post from Shahbaz Sharif, Pakistan. I knew I had it. Now you have it too. I'm sharing because I'm caring. And he says, following intensive talks, we are pleased to announce that the peace deal between the United States of America and Islamic Republic of Iran has been reached. All caps. Very Trumpian. Yep. Both sides have declared the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Maybe. The official signing ceremony will be on Friday, 19th June in Switzerland. Oh, that would be, I guess, near the end of the G7, right? Conference. I guess he's going there. We would like to thank the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran for their commitment to finding a diplomatic solution to the conflict. We would also like to extend our sincere appreciation to our brothers in this mediation effort, the great leadership of the state of Qatar for their support in reaching this agreement. I would also especially thank the visionary leadership of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Republic of Turkey for their immense contributions in this regard. With the agreement now in place, mediators will facilitate a series of meetings this week. These pre-implementation discussions will lay the foundation for the technical talks and the official signing ceremony. And is that a deal? That sounds like a deal to talk about a deal. Kind of like having a referendum on a referendum. Yeah, it's true, though. They're not lying. It's true. Here's J.D. Vance. He's all jacked up, too. He got so excited. He went over onto Fox News and shared the details on the deal, the big deal, just in time for President Trump's big deal birthday bash.
First of all, I think it's a big moment for the United States of America. Thanks, of course, to the president's leadership and the hard work of the entire team. Three things that I think are important for the American people just to appreciate about what this deal does for all of us as Americans. Number one, this is the immediate opening of the Straits of Hormuz and, of course, the lifting of the naval blockade that we've had on Iran along with it. The number two thing that it means is that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and not just pursue a nuclear weapon, but procure or try to buy a nuclear weapon as well. That's built into this agreement. And then the third thing is, and this only happens, to be clear, if Iran delivers on their promise. And so there's an approach here where we verify and where there are real benefits so long as Iran meets their end of the obligation. But if the Iranians comply with this deal, it is going to fundamentally transform the Middle East for the next 50 years. It's going to end the war. It's going to make the Middle East more investable. It's going to mean a lot of prospects. First of all, I do think it's a big...
That guy wants to be El Presidente. That's what he wants. And he may well achieve that. He has indicated that as he's eyeballing the next election, Trump is being very supportive as he begins to position himself for the run at the White House. Now this, we're told I'm going to run it. I have no idea what they're saying. I don't speak the language. There are no subtitles, but this apparently is Iranian state TV announcing that this is an actual, some sort of deal thing.
آمریکا وادار به امضای تفاهم پایان جنگ با جمهوری اسلامی ایران و جبهه مقاومت شد. شهباز شریف از پایان دائم و فوری جنگ در همه جبهه‌های جنگ آمریکا علیه ایران و متحدانش خبر داد. نخست وزیر پاکستان از دستیابی به توافق پایان جنگ آمریکا علیه ایران خبر داد.
Okay. In this case, I have to just accept that the post had a caption on it saying Iranian state TV announces U.S. Iran peace deal. Okay. And she said Sharif, so she is talking about that, and we'll just have to accept that she announced it. I have no idea what she said, but there you go. And so what we're looking at here tonight, I guess Iran stopped planned strikes on Israel, or so we're told, after Trump offered an Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon and an immediate lifting of the U.S. naval blockade. To me, that sounds like concessions, kind of, almost. I don't know. And does this mean the strait is actually going to open immediately? We will need to wait and see. I guess we'll give them a little bit of time, but Vance said immediate. But then, and that's what Trump was saying earlier, but then it seemed like he was waffling a bit on the second post, saying upon signing, that's not until Friday. And they're going to sit down and have technical talks, although there were also posts talking about an electronic signing. So does that mean they're not going to meet in person? Or they will be going? We don't know. There's already some conflicting information here. Well, we'll cross our fingers. I really do hope that it works out, because the whole war needs to end. And I don't really know if did he really get anything? Well, let's go over to Face the Nation, where Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, talks about peace. He must be crying. He must be crying. We got peace. Here we go. I'm sorry. Can't help it.
Are you keeping the force posture in place through the 60 days of negotiations and beyond?
Oh, we'll make sure the military option is there. And that's the big difference between this and JCPOA and the way Obama did it. Obama, they begged Iran for a deal, and we bombed Iran and then put in a blockade and then ran ships through and then have restarted when necessary to ensure that they come to the table for a great deal. So our military posture will be whatever it needs to be to ensure they're compelled over this 60 days through the Memorandum of Understanding that they live up to what they said they would do. The document says Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, won't seek one, won't buy one, won't have one.
JCPOA said that too.
There'll be negotiations to make that final. But they didn't have the threat of military force the way that we do, that Iran respects in a very way that their regime is more devastated than it's ever been in its 47 years. And that's why they're at the table. So the huge difference is we did this from a position of strength. President Trump led with military might. That military might will stay as long as necessary. You know, if the blockade comes off, then you pull back and you allow shipping to flow, just like Iran needs to allow shipping to go through the straits. But we can snap that blockade back at any point, and they can't do anything about it. And Iran knows that, and that's why we have the leverage in these talks, and we hope they'll go well. We really do.
Okay. Woohoo! Yeah, so Trump's saying this thing's a done deal, complete. Well, done, but scheduled for signing. Maybe as early as June 19th in Switzerland via electronic or maybe a formal ceremony. We don't know yet. And that'll authorize the reopening of the strait. So tomorrow, will the ships be? I don't know. Don't know. What is going on with the price of oil? Let's check. Oil prices. I bet you they dropped. Bet you they dropped. Buy low, sell high. Oh, yeah. They're down just a little bit. Everything's down. All the oil prices are down. Brent crude, 83.88, down almost 4%. I think maybe somebody should be taking a look to see who sold a bunch of oil yesterday. Oil futures, that is. I'm sure somebody will. And I'm sure there's been an impact on the stock market. And what about Bitcoin? Bitcoin price, US, 65. It's up. It's up, baby. Not that anybody would engage in any kind of, inside trading or anything. Let's see what happens by Tuesday. What's going on over in Ukraine? Well, I know that there's talk. Apparently, Trump spoke with Putin this weekend by phone. And there are reports that he has promised Putin that when he goes to the G7 this week, he will put pressure on Europe and Ukraine to kind of bend the knee just a little bit and accept Russian demands for a peace deal there. So he's going to put pressure on Ukraine and Europe to get them to accept Putin's conditions for peace. That's the report. Multiple reports on social media and elsewhere. We'll see. And Zelensky apparently also spoke with Trump today on his 80th birthday. They discussed the war, diplomacy, peace negotiations, battlefield developments. Zelensky noting Ukraine's strengthened position, and they do have one right now. And I think that explains a lot, especially when you frame all of that with the successes on the battlefield with these drone strikes that we highlighted last night. And now these new phone calls and Putin changing his rhetoric a little bit and Trump promising apparently to put pressure on Zelensky and Europe this week. He conveyed that the ending to the Ukraine conflict is vital, offering U.S. help again. And both sides plan further talks around the G7 summit. And Ukraine drones striking Russia again overnight. They keep on going after the supply lines. It looks like Crimea is having issues with shortages, especially with both food and fuel. So they're rationing things. It looks like they're implementing some sort of a QR code system for people to get essentials. And without that, you can't get what you need. And the bridges that lead into Crimea, the smaller ones, a lot of those have been taken out, disabled for at least for the time being. Not clear if all of them have been disabled, but rail lines also disrupted there. So, yeah, it's an ongoing, messy, lethal, deadly war. And Ukraine seems at the moment to have the upper hand. As I said last night, I think Russia's actually in trouble because Ukraine hammering them with drones. And yeah, I was looking into it more. Some people last night suggesting that the numbers I was sharing with you with regard to drones might not be realistic. And in fact, no, it was very realistic. It looks like over the next year, and even prior to this, Ukraine has been utilizing as many as 3.5 million drones now a year in the battlefield, not just suicide drones, drones that explode as weapons, but also surveillance drones. Those drones basically permanent eyes in the sky, replacing the need for some of the Starlink infrastructure and intelligence gathering capabilities. And then last night as well, highlighting what I think is probably the most significant, maybe you could say even dangerous, but certainly the most significant technological development I think that mankind is going through since the development of the nuclear bomb, and that is that for the first time ever, it was confirmed that drones controlled entirely through artificial were unleashed and used to target Russian troops with success in the battlefield. That is like Terminator coming to life. Like that's the real deal, man. And it's confirmed. Like this has actually happened. I suspect it's happened more than just the one time because that was announced 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Now revealed in a news conference, but it happened 2 years ago. Mark Carney, Canadian Prime Minister, is on his 2-day official visit to Ireland, the first bilateral visit by a Canadian PM in nearly a decade. He arrived there in Dublin yesterday with his wife, greeted by dignitaries. Trip combines diplomacy, trade discussions, and he visited his the home of his paternal grandparents who emigrated from Ireland way back in 1925. There's video of it on there. He gave another speech. He's making headlines around the world as European leaders, well, even beyond Europe, a lot of countries looking to Carney for something in the way of new leadership in the void left by the United States exiting, in many respects, the position of leadership globally. You can assess this in a whole bunch of different ways. For me, the jury is out, but one way or another, he's acknowledging there is a new world order and Canada is finding its place in it, maybe at the top or at the front or at the tip of the spear or however you want to care.
Canada and Ireland face a rapidly changing world, one which unfortunately is more dangerous and divided. A world that must feel as uncertain as the future must have to my grandparents when they immigrated. A rules-based order from which we've long benefited is eroding, the values we cherish are under threat, and as reliable partners become fewer, those that remain matter ever more. And Canada believes that this moment of rupture can only be answered by positive, purposeful action, by building what comes next. So we look first to our closest allies. That's Europe, that's Ireland. Ours is a relationship founded on those who built anew, by women and men who crossed the Atlantic in search of a better future for their children, a future they could not yet see. And it's that legacy, their legacy, that we must call on today, so that the values that we've inherited become the foundation of a better world for those to follow.
So what we're talking about here is Canada leading a charge or a movement or a transition, whatever, toward an alliance of middle powers making up something. Some people are calling it already, maybe like the G20. I don't know where it all goes, but the countries involved in these kinds of discussions with Carney, you combine them all, it's a much bigger market than the United States, and we're being pushed into it, man. That's where we're going because of the tariffs. And we'll see where the Kuzma negotiations go. But anybody that thinks that Canada can't survive on its own, well, you're going to get a lesson, because we're just going to trade with other people, other countries. In fact, I think probably where it'll end up is we'll keep expanding trade with the U.S. and we'll expand trade now with all of the European allies that have always been traditional allies of the United States and Canada. I think it's all going to come out in the wash, and we're all going to be okay. That's, I think, where it's going to go. But in the meantime, I have to bring you this, because Carney today in Ireland, I think this was today. Yeah, it's today. He did sort of an impression of Donald Trump, and he's very, Carney is very businesslike, and so this is a side of him that most people haven't seen. And because he is kind of stiff, so this is why it's actually kind of funny.
Let me tell you a brief story to put this honor in context. About a year and a half ago, a little less than that, another great leader, Cahirlock, gave me a gift, and he said, "Mark, this is very special. This is unique," and it's a key. It's a key to the White House. It's a key to the White House, Mark. No one else has it. I found it. It wasn't really true. No one else has it. He has a key to the White House. I was touched. I said, "Mr. President, what does it do?" And he said, "Well, they'll either let you in or they'll shoot you." They'll probably shoot you. Let me...
We'll be back in a minute.
We are the Mavericks. Welcome to the Matrix, baby. Hope you like the view. We are the Mavericks. The world is watching. We are the Mavericks.
All right, I'm going to show you something. I know that Joseph is waiting in the wings. We're going to get into this review of Disclosure Day in a moment, but I want to show you something that's sort of related to all of this. Yesterday, somebody asked me about it. I'm surprised only one person did. I thought I'd get more. Here's the thumbnail from last night. See the picture down there in the corner? That's sort of me. Not really me. It's a representation of me. That is a computer-generated sketch from some time ago, from an old photo of me. And I just highlight it because it's a representation of me. It's not the real me. And it was created by a computer. Last night and tonight, we're talking about AI. We're talking about full disclosure. We're talking about all of the related subjects connected to that discussion, including quantum physics, space, time, speed of light. Do aliens exist? Other possible dimensions? Reptilian alien people who want to eat your brains, and what's real, what isn't. This photo is kind of tied into all of that because computer generated, It's a representation of me. It's a computer sketch. It's not a photo. It is a sketch of me, a computer's interpretation of me and my likeness. Not the best likeness of me right now because, my facial features have changed a little bit, or more to the point, light, which represents, in many respects, time, because it's the ultimate speed. It reflects off my face differently in the past. And then what are we getting? Now we're getting a computer generated interpretation of the reflection of the light of my face from the past. And then turning that into some sort of an image through bits and bytes, transmitting that back out into the world, like transmitting it outward to you through the illumination of a screen or many screens. But it's not real, or is it? It made me think when somebody asked me about it, like, what the hell is that? That's not you. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is, but it isn't. And I was thinking of the concept of magic shadows, which is a philosophical thing. It also, for me, my first introduction to it was as a kid on an old program that I used to watch on TV Ontario called Magic Shadows. It was a program that was on during the week, hosted by Elwie Yost on TVO, where they would showcase in segments over the week a classic movie, and then there would be discussion about it. The host, Elwie, who was a school teacher, actually, he also did this program, and he would analyze the film and share his thoughts and review it, but also give insight. And that was really one of my first ways of serious exposure to cinema or magic shadows, because it is it's a concept. The idea of magic shadows refers to the early history of projected images and motion pictures. Ancient concepts like the camera obscura, a darkened room, a box that is used to project inverted images through a small hole, shadows on a cave wall, the magic lantern, all of these things. For me, it resonates. Maybe it resonates for you too. Light itself is a frequency. It resonates with me all through time. I have always thought of when I'm engaging in, part of what I do, photography, making films, even as a kid, Super 8mm films, to today shooting videography, cinematography. Whenever I work in any of those mediums, I have always thought of it as painting with light. That's what movies really largely are. It's painting with light. Some cultures actually, through history, have prohibited even photography of human beings, because some wary of photography, believing it could steal a person's spirit or soul. Even some indigenous cultures here in North America, African cultures, some in New Zealand, Australia. It's a true thing. Some people very fearful of it. Ancient, primitive people fearing soul-stealing cameras. It became a colonial era stereotype in travel writing and anthropology. These things, hit home for me when I was a kid, learning about shooting even film and cutting Super 8mm flicks when I was really young, like starting to do that at like the age of 9. Painting with light, magic shadows. What you just saw there, that image, it's a new thing. It's sort of not just a reversed image, it's a reversed way of painting with light. A reverse It doesn't actually, it sort of starts with light, but then converts it into bits and bytes, and then turns it around in an environment of darkness on a hard drive or in the cloud someplace, then flips it around with AI, and then turns it back into something that we can see. The model doesn't see light the way a camera does. It never touches a photon. It is really only a statistical relationship between these billions of bits and bytes available to it to determine what it wants to create. It dreams in latent space, interpreting things through a high dimensional mathematical realm. These AI images don't just reflect reality, they actually, I think, infect it. They paint on the inside of our skulls. They don't just paint with light, they paint with information. They alter memory, expectations, even our desires, playing with our emotions. A whole generation is growing up right now, infected with a language that is converted from, I don't know, Python, computer code, converted back into visual language, and even combined with text and audio and English language, any language you want, it'll convert it, pump it back out, not capturing the light, but conjuring it for us. The brush is no longer the light itself, but it is a AI prompt combination of light interpretation and an AI prompt. The canvas now is infinite. The light is both the medium and the message, traveling through fiber optic nerves straight into our consciousness. Do you feel it? I do. You want to get trapped in the matrix? You're already there, baby. This is like something very ancient wearing a new digital skin. Kind of creepy. Exciting at the same time. That's what cinema is, man. And it ties into what we're going to talk about tonight. Right here, this blockbuster flick where I did go to the theater yesterday, and it's a blockbuster, yet there were only about 15 people in the theater when I went. I thought there would be a lot more, but multiple showings. Went in the afternoon, maybe more people in bigger cities. Disclosure Day. Well, full disclosure when we come back. On the other side of this, to review it with our own great friend, Joseph Leonard.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, just before we get Joseph, just want to show you one more thing. As we head into this week's G7 summit. I've covered G7 summits. people. Oops. Here we go. Some people. We'll get this. This will get some people jacked up. These photons coming through. These images from the G7 today, ahead of the G7, big protests. Whatever. This is entertaining, isn't it? Holy shit. I would not. I don't want to be either one of those cops, man. They're throwing bottles and rocks at you. What a job. And then, because this is also happening as Elon was crowned the world's first trillionaire, they burned a Tesla. So this is the Tesla that burned all around the world. It's one car, okay? They set one car on fire. I think more cars got set on fire when the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup last time. But that's not good. I think the bank can afford it. I'm just trying to put it in perspective for you. It wouldn't be a G7 summit if they didn't have some of that. Okay, it's gonna be
true.
Okay.
True, yeah. That's the state of our world today. It wouldn't be in anything. It wouldn't be a New York Knicks championship without them burning a bus.
Yeah. So there you go. But I don't recommend anybody do that. You probably get in a bit of trouble. So. Yeah. Anyway, welcome back, my friend.
Oh, and you taught me something I didn't know about your Circus Carney leader there. I wonder what his wife thinks about him going bi and engaging in bilateral movements.
Well,
you know me, I can't pass the lame pun. So anyway, but.
Okay, well, I don't think Mark Carney himself is bisexual. I've seen no evidence of that, but he
nor have I, but I can't pass the joke.
But Canada has been engaged with many countries in the last, well, since he came to office, and we have deals now with real deals with I think it's over 20 different countries now. So things are shifting. That's for sure. Taking time, but I hope things smooth out with the way everything is being dealt with on the U.S. side too, because it's just a lot simpler, and I just don't think any of it makes any damn sense. But yeah, friends shouldn't be fighting like this. Not that we're fighting; we're just getting whatever. I just want it to end.
Put them up.
I don't know. You might be wise to keep that Gordie Howe Bridge closed, because you never know. We might be coming over there and infecting you with our Canuckistanian ideas and too much maple syrup.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. But you saw the movie Disclosure Day?
Yeah, I saw it Thursday night, first showings. I ponied up the extra to see it in the IMAX because I've been waiting so long. Overall I give it a B, and I think that says more about me than it does the movie, though. It's one of those situations where you've expected a movie for so long and you have such high expectations, you're bound to be let down to some degree. And yet I couldn't tell you where I'd make changes in the scripts to supposedly get it to an A- or an A+. So I think it's just more the general overly high expectations thing. They can't possibly meet them.
Okay. So I'm actually glad that I'm doing this with you, because Steven Spielberg, who produced the movie, obviously directed it, I guess, too, right? So he said this would make people question their faith. And you, of course, being a Christitutionalist and a Christian, I don't know, did that carry any weight with you through this, or is that a way to look at it at all?
Not in the least. Number one, I love the trailer. No spoiler here with the nun saying, why would God create all that space and leave it empty? And Genesis, I've said on many shows, I think I might have said it on your show before, does not say. And God created life on Terra, and only on Terra life created he. It doesn't say that.
Yeah, well, and I think the quote from the movie was, God created, this is a quote from Genesis, right? So how did it go? God created
Man is the
man as
supreme on this planet.
right, on this planet. And so the nun who stopped being a nun so she could have, be the love interest in the film. Right?
Not really, but yeah,
Yeah, she
okay.
she didn't quite get the quote right, which was she was excused from that because she stopped, being a nun. She didn't complete her studies to become I guess she was a full-fledged nun. I don't know. She was a
as
nun
it
and then
also
stopped being a
says
nun.
in the film, spoiler alert here, as it says the older nun talking to her, you didn't lose your faith in God, you lost it in humanity.
Yeah.
And I find I would agree with that quote too. Again, other beings from other planets doesn't erase or eliminate God in the least. And the movie deals with a lot of things that have been in the conspiracy realm for a long time. It deals in Roswell, it deals in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, it deals in the Nixon Gleason to Area 51 trip, it deals in the Eisenhower Alien Summit, although some people, if they weren't familiar with that ahead, they might not catch that in the film, but it doesn't go beyond much of what we already know, what we've already suspected, what we're already talking about.
So I'm gonna come to something later where I think that this film does deal with a variety of related issues, some of them very heavy, in very subtle ways that if you are in the know, you will pick up on it.
Easter eggs in a way. Yeah.
Even more than that, I'll explain later, but on the surface for the general public, yeah, I think that you're touching on a very important thing, which is, and this is the question, what's he disclosing? Does he have proof of actual aliens visiting Earth? And are they among us already? And is it connected to all of these disclosures or releases, file dumps from the Pentagon of late? The most recent, just this past Friday, where more were released again. And when I looked at them, one of the images that was released was just an artist's rendering of what looked like a white blob on a I'm like, that's not proof of anything. This is ridiculous.
No.
So what do you make of all of that, Joseph?
Well, again, for the most part, I think he tried to say safe. And in a way, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is almost more a disclosure movie, because in the 70s, there was a film, and apologies, I forget what it was called. They were promised actual alien footage. They, at the last minute, never got it. They came out with the film with whatever was in it. But supposedly Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind was based on that real footage that was never able to be shown. So in a way, Close Encounters was almost more a real disclosure movie than this was.
And the footage that we saw of these aliens and things largely in this movie,
Grays.
It's all created footage by Spielberg. There were clips that they ran sort of on video screens of the stuff that has been released by the Pentagon over the years,
but they didn't really deal with it. So
it really doesn't, in that sense, reveal anything. And yet in the interviews that Spielberg has been doing, he's actually come out and has said, oh, but he's actually said this is the truth, and he's open, but he kind of cushions all of that by saying at times, he's open to believing because of the all of the circumstantial evidence that is overwhelming. So he's like, this is like double speak, where he's saying it's true, but might not be true, but it's true. And I think he's saying that it's all true because he needs to sell more tickets. That's one of the reasons he's saying that it's true.
Yeah.
Your
Well,
thoughts?
the bottom line on all that is a lot of this isn't proof of anything, but as you said, circumstantial evidence. As we know physics, we cannot do those things that some of these vehicles are doing. Is that proof that they're extraterrestrial? They could be interstellar. They could be interdimensional, or as I coin, intertimental. What are some speculate grays are really us 100,000 years in the future, and it's intertimental tourism. They've come back to observe us, but not want to mess, or as saying our genes are so screwed up in the future, that's why they're coming back to garner human samples to bring back to the Future, another movie.
Another Spielberg flick,
you know what I mean. No, Back to the Future. Was that Spielberg or was that Zemeckis? That was Zemeckis.
Oh, well, yeah, but Spielberg was involved with it, I think, as
he
a
was
producer.
Involved, yeah.
But I don't think he directed it, but he had a hand in it, yeah.
But yeah, the need that 100,000 years from now, our gene pools are so screwed up, they need genetic manipulation of samples from now to help preserve our race in the future. So there's interstellar, there's interdimensional. Again, the Bible doesn't speak to it, so that doesn't mean it's not possible. And one of my favorite Christian movies is Constantine with Keanu Reeves. Great film that deals with interdimensionalism, that hell is really just a dimensional plane of this existence. So interstellar, interdimensional, and as I coin, intertimental, so it better fits with the other two inters.
That's interesting that you call it intertimental. I'm kind of in sync with you on that, if you will, but maybe you can explain how you interpret that or view it.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me than time traveler. Well, there can be interstellar travelers, interdimensional travelers, and I, for the record, like the Indiana Jones movie and the Crystal Skulls dealing with that also. I enjoyed it. It made archaeological sense to me to go there next. But yeah, intertimental, if you could traverse time, you're an intertimental being, as would be an interstellar being or an interdimensional being. To me, it just makes more sense to say that than a time traveler.
Time travel is possible. It's undeniable. You know why? Because you and I are moving through space and time right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Forward time movement.
Right.
Whether backward time
or at least the concept of forward time movement for us. Yes.
Yeah. And in theory, we've moved things, small objects into the past, supposedly. So, but whether it can be done on a larger scale.
There have been experiments showing that time is affected, the passage of time is affected by gravity, and they've proven this by taking like a clock and then going all the way up to the top of a very high mountain and then bringing it all the way back down to the lab. And then it's like an atomic clock, right?
Yeah.
And then when you compare the two clocks, there's a time difference. And that's because as you get further away from the gravitational pull of the Earth, it becomes less powerful. And that affects the passage of time because it warps space and time. And so is an experiment that
Einstein,
illustrates it.
E equals MC
Mhm.
squared
Yeah.
time is relative. It is
Right.
in a figurative and proven literal sense also,
And
yes.
so time
The
can be
whole
compressed and
concept of
expanded
if
because
we
space. Yeah.
become interstellar beings ourselves, move as close to the speed of light as possible, we age more on this planet than the beings traveling, hurtling through space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So
Well, that's
that,
been
yeah.
proven too
Mhm.
with the twins here. What the astronaut, what's his name?
Astronaut. Yeah.
Uh, Pet, 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 not Pelly, Kelly. Kelly and his identical twin. They studied him gone up into space with his brother once he's come back. And indeed, the aging process they theorize or they feel they can prove was different. He aged less while in space than his brother, identical twin, did. Well, there can be various factors of why his brother may age more on Earth than you. But in theory, again, I agree. In theory, that makes sense. But us proving it over a long haul yet is a whole other thing.
Yeah. So this, if, but if aliens are discovered as or are revealed to us, as is the case in the film, would that, as was people are concerned about in the film, would that undermine or erode or maybe destroy people's
World's religions.
faith?
It could. I've said this on my Constitutionalist podcast all the time. People who are weak in their faith. Again, God can explain aliens. Aliens do not automatically dismiss or displace God. And indeed, if God created all that, why would he have left it all empty? And the sin of hubris, check yourself. God doesn't owe you all the answers. Get over yourself.
That's very true. I think there's some things that that we will never know as human beings, and I think that is one of the natural laws, actually, because
Oh,
some
let me
things are
piss.
simply unknowable. But
Yeah, let me piss some people off and say the Bible is a Dr. Seuss book. And by which I mean, we, even in our technological times, are nothing compared to the power and the entity and the what and the all knowing that is God. We are children. Dr. Seuss book. We were given a Dr. Seuss book. Just because it says doesn't say something like reincarnation. Just because it doesn't say it's not possible.
Right.
So that means it can be. We are but one eternal soul. It doesn't preclude additional returns in a human form to this planet.
That's why I am very skeptical, to say the least, of people who try to sell us this idea that we are living in some sort of a, well, some people equate it to a video game. Some people say simulation. What they mean by that, I think is important. Like, what do they mean by a simulation? Is this, to me, if you want to talk about us living in a simulation or a matrix, I would say we live in God's matrix because God created all of this, and this is God's matrix. And in that sense, yeah, it is a matrix. But if you're trying to tell us that it's
that
because
way,
there are other beings that are controlling us, or some guy with a joystick and a video game controller on the other side,
City.
right? Like, I can't accept that at all, because I know I am real. I know I am, because I think I'm conscious. Those are all philosophical ideas, but I'm very certain that I am a real thing.
Well, a really well-coded video game of SimCity could make artificial intelligence. Like there's the movie Free Guy. I highly recommend that with Ryan Reynolds. Great film. Another movie, my favorite Matrix film is The 13th Floor, from the great mind of Roland Emmerich, which brought us Stargate, Independence Day films, The Day After Tomorrow. Moonfall was a great one of late. But so if you want a Matrix film, a much more realistic one is The 13th Floor. Imagine you wearing VR goggles and downloading yourself into your Sim City and it being AI intelligent enough that the beings in your city think they're real also, and you can interact with them. The 13th Floor is a much more believable, viable Matrix movie than the Matrix quadology is.
Mm-hmm. So some people are out there saying this is, like Alex Jones saying, this is a psyop. The whole thing is just a psyop. And I'll say this. I mean, there's no question Hollywood has always worked, to some degree with Washington, governments, right? Although today, there are even foreign governments, including China, that own big chunks of movie studios in the United States, like Sony and stuff like that. So,
what's the Brandon Fraser movie about Eisenhower and D-Day? Pressure. They go into that, right? The lengths Hollywood helped the U.S. government and the U.K. to go through to create phantom armies and move them around, and they were just all blow-ups. But from the air of the time, they looked real from the reconnaissance. Now, today, with such high-definition cameras, a plane would spot those are fakes today. But then Hollywood magic was real and helped very much us to win World War II.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just come back for a moment to the simulation video game trap thing. I also have to take exception to those kinds of concepts or ideas that are being, pumped out on the internet, because it like I said the other night, what is it? Is it 16-bit, 32, 64-bit reality? What do we get? When do we get the upgrade? You cannot, you can't live. You can't duplicate life. Like you can't get jacked into the Matrix and actually be a living being in there. Because we don't fully understand life to begin with, as you so rightly pointed out. There's a lot of hubris in that, and anybody that thinks that we're being controlled in a video game, that's very hubristic, because human beings, I think, always through history think that we've reached sort of some pinnacle of technological sophistication. But you zoom ahead 50 years or a century into the future, and you look back at where we were 50 or 100 years ago from today, and the technology is ancient. Yeah. Like, we're talking, when I was a kid, it was dial-up phones and, manual typewriters, and there were no computers per se. They were just being invented at the time. So, it's just
well, it goes back arrogant to the movie Free Guy. I really like that. Of 8 billion people on the planet, how many then are supposed AI sentients? And 7.999 billion people are all NPCs, non-player characters.
So this movie kind of deals with all of these concepts on one level or another, because they're talking about people who I think they call them experiencers, right? And so they're dealing with telepathy. They deal also to some degree with, the concept of frequency. And that's why, because this is something that's kind of trending right now in popular culture and even
pianos on the train scene.
Yes. Yeah. And so they're, he places her hands on the strings and the piano, right?
To try to calm her down.
Yeah. Yep. So she can feel the frequencies of the tonalities, the the frequency.
The feel of the train, they hop a train, they're on a train, and the moving train, of course, is jostling the pianos, and the chords are playing, and feel them. And yes, you root yourself back into reality. Don't let your mind wander into all these other things that they're suggesting are real in the film, but are again above our pay grade. We're not necessarily ready for them yet, and that's the whole existential question of the movie. Are we ready to understand that? And back to the religions may fall apart. Well, I dare say only if you're weak in your faith.
So these are the higher concepts that the film indulges, but it also deals with the real world that we live in, some of the political issues, I think also issues surrounding racism and even, concepts of, well, I'll just leave it there for the moment. And that brings me back to the whole thing where some critics of the film, especially notable critics with big followings, people like Alex Jones, for instance, saying it's a psyop, and David Icke also saying it's a psyop. But I think there are very specific reasons why they've come out to take that position. And what's your view on them criticizing it? Not just them, but others as well in that way.
Yeah, it's not as if Alex Jones only deals in silliness. He deals in some real things to help try to root, like my historical fiction, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. It's historical fiction, or as I call it, faction. I set up real things so that the storytelling part is more believable also. Alex Jones throws out some real things so that his off-the-wall nuttiness, he likes to try to think, lends credibility to. But he's not credible. He's incredible in the real sense of the incredible word, as in lacking all credibility.
So I'm going to throw something out here for you.
Oh, and that's an AI image of me in the corner there too. You were saying that's Galaxy AI's interpretation of my reality too.
Where is that? The one down there in the corner with the microphone?
The one on the very lower right corner. Yeah, that was an actual event of me on the mic in that shirt with my name tag on, and where as I do look.
Well, you're all fake.
It makes me look younger there, and it removed the background flags that were there and stuff like that. So yeah, I too use as my author photo that now rather than an actual image of myself. My beard is a lot less gray, as you can see in there.
Yes, yeah. Oh, you look pretty sexy in that other picture. Yeah, you might want to go. I won't say anything.
Yeah, we don't want to go back to bilateral.
Okay, so but if I were, you'd be in the running. Okay,
well,
so
thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh boy.
Okay, so
we're gonna get letters.
Yeah, so psyop.
A lot of people say Alex Jones is a psyop, and I could buy that actually more than I buy his bullshit as what he calls psyops.
Yeah, I'm going to share something with you a perspective that I don't think anybody else. I don't even heard it anywhere else. See, Alex Jones and David Icke both have these similar but not quite, there's some differences in the way that they kind of view aliens and interdimensionality and some of these things. And yet both of them use this idea as a core component of their whole shtick, right? Their whole everything they talk about. It's the foundation, really, of their media existence and the way they interact with their flocks. But they're also sometimes criticized by people for being anti-Semitic and for, well, anti-Semitic is what it comes down to. And the reason being they talk, and I think maybe you're familiar with where this goes. It's because they're, especially with Ike and well, both of them really, they recycle the stories from the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, right? And so in the case of David Icke, he has been accused of replacing, like using reptilians, interdimensional reptilians or aliens as a stand-in for Jewish people and or Zionists. So, and certainly if you look at the narrative,
I love that one. Oh, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just anti-Zionist. Oh, it's the same damn thing. Go.
Yeah. So
just shut up.
Yeah. So, I think they do use it as a shield because I think that they are anti-Israel for sure. If not, well, depends on how the day, but even when I watched the thing with David Icke, he comes back. Like he comes right out at one point. He always says, "Oh no, when I'm talking about reptilians, I'm talking about reptilians, not Jewish people or Zionists. It's reptilians." But then in his rejection of the film, which he was interviewed and did a whole, this is just a psyop thing, and I just saw the movie on the first day that it opened in the UK. In the middle of it, he makes reference to who was it? Somebody being, involved in the big one of the biggest donors, which was true, to Israel and the IDF. Okay, and so I'm like, all right, so there it is, like it's there, it's injected right there, even though he always denies it, and it's like, yeah, there. You are. Yeah. So you are, you are anti-Israel, you are anti-Zionist, you are anti-Jew. Yes, you are. Yeah. Like you can hide it, use that as a mask all you want, but that's what it's true. And whether he really believes that these are reptilians, well, yeah. it's the whole narrative is unfalsifiable by design, right? So that it's like an unsolvable riddle, which he then uses as a shield, so that no matter what he says, he can say what he wants and get people to buy into it and view the world through that lens, guilt-free. See, it's a way to purge the shame and de-weaponize the narrative, or de-weaponize the political correctness coming from the Israeli side. It's like, you can't criticize me for being a racist because I'm talking about reptilians, right? When I say reptilians, but here's the thing with the Spielberg flick. I see this, and I haven't heard anybody else say this. Spielberg is using this as a subtle yet very powerful pushback to all of that, because he talks about having empathy. Ike, Jones, they don't like Spielberg. They see him as part of the evil cabal, the elite, the New World Order, part of the Hollywood group that, they don't like Spielberg because he's Jewish and they don't like his work. And they sure as hell don't want him saying that people should have empathy for the aliens. They can't have that because they need people to hate the aliens, because that forms the very emotional foundation
partial
of everything
justification
that drives what they do.
Yes.
So even before the movie came out, David Icke started on about how this movie was going to be a psyop. A year beforehand, when he found out this movie was coming out, he said, this will be the year of the aliens. Yeah, okay. yeah, that's what the government does. That's what, like, they plan these things out in advance. And I think in this case, the White House, the Pentagon, they've been helping Spielberg promote the film by releasing all of the stuff in conjunction. It's not a coincidence.
Look
Yeah,
over
blah,
here.
blah, blah.
Don't look over here.
Sure.
That's always been the case with governments.
Right.
And
So it's
before I
true. That's all
forget, I
true.
want to point at my Is E.T. Really Here book there in the background. Please go to Amazon. Only a 99 cent.
Shameless
Kindle
plug.
exclusive. Exactly. Shameless. But I go into these things long before this movie came out about will it destroy people's faith? Again, only if you're weak of faith. I go into in the book. Genesis does not say, and God created life on terra, and only on terra life created he. Doesn't say that.
See, so the use of aliens as a metaphor in the Ike and Jones narratives, it serves multiple purposes, but the most important purpose, in my view, is that they use the aliens as a way to dehumanize Jewish people. And Zionists. So it's Jews and anybody that supports the Jews. You're all a bunch of aliens.
You're
right?
as bad as an alien. Yeah.
And so, this is, part of what the Spielberg movie is. So he says in this film, the script says, the movie portrays this. He says, the character says, was it Noah? Is that the guy's name? Character's name? Anyway, the wisdom guy. Anyway, he's like
biblical reference, of course.
Yeah, so he's like these aliens present as animals. Okay? And so that's intentional because this is Spielberg saying these people are telling you that
that ties in with skinwalkers and
alien.
all that.
Well, no, it's not just that. This is about dehumanizing. So the people that you're being told to hate, they're telling you they're animals. And Netanyahu does the same thing to the people in Palestine. He says they're all a bunch of animals. They're barbarians. We need to annihilate them. Like he uses this language, and especially in times of war, countries do that. They dehumanize their
every
enemies, right?
side.
Right. And
look what we did to the Japanese during World War II. The portrayal of Japanese, which led to FDR, a Democrat,
it's dangerous
people in internment camps.
It's very dangerous because that's what leads. That gives agency, that gives permission to people to hate others and to lash out and become violent, do anything you want to these people. They're just animals. You can put them in concentration camps. You can kill them. You can do whatever you want because they're just animals. You can do whatever you want to these aliens because they're just animals. So Spielberg is saying, right, that we present as animals, but you should have empathy for everyone, which I think is a positive message, because we're all really, in one way or another, living beings and humans. And so in the film,
we are animals.
Right. Well, in a way,
we're a human animal. We're an animal.
So, but in the film, he also then takes it a step further and shows these aliens being captured, abused, experimented on, even murdered, killed, right? Over 79 years of, and so that ties in very much.
Da Vinci, it goes way back to biblical times, long before that. Look at all of Da Vinci's works and others, the portrayal of craft in the sky at the times of Christ. Even.
So the important thing here, though, is that Spielberg is saying for Spielberg, the aliens become a metaphor as well, also for the Jews, for Zionists. He's saying, look at what's happened in the past. Look at what has been happening over the past 79 years. You've had these people that are being persecuted, murdered, killed, and you could even substitute not just the Jews and Zionists in Spielberg's interpretation of this, but you could put the Palestinians in there. You could put any group that's been genocided in there and use that.
Armenians.
Right, anybody. Okay, but for him as a Jewish person, this I see as a real pushback to Ike, to Jones, both of whom have for a long time been incredibly conspiratorial and critical of
And
even
I would
especially
dare even
Spielberg.
add Candace Owens, who went from being red pilled to retard pilled, and Tucker Carlson, red pilled to retard pill land.
So this is just his way of pushing back on it without picking a direct fight with these guys. But they've taken the bait and they've come right out of the box before even seeing the film saying it's a psyop. Big, and you can't. And here's the thing that they lose me here, because they're saying you can't have empathy. You shouldn't have empathy for these aliens because, you know, they're evil. And they've been telling us that there are these evil aliens, interdimensional beings controlling us all as part of a evil cabal that control all the world leaders. So they can't have you feeling any empathy or sympathy or anything, any positive or compassion. You can't have compassion for these people because it undermines their narrative. Spielberg pushes back with this and says, we all need to have compassion for each other. And you can put that in your pipe and chew on it.
Yeah. Well,
right?
let me get in trouble here.
Not that you chew on a pipe. I'm using it as a.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But
smoke it, whatever.
There's no such thing as pure good unless if you're talking God, and you're not talking pure evil unless you're talking as the saying goes, even Hitler loved Eva. They loved each other. Even Hitler loved dogs. Hitler certainly loved himself more than anything else, but pure evil is often a construct we go on that's bad. Not even I hesitate to give any examples. I already got myself in trouble with bringing up Hitler.
Yeah, well, it's just and you see the history with the way they approach Spielberg when they talk about him. They, you know, Schindler's List, critical because some schools they show Schindler's List as though it's a direct.
Oh, the attack on Anne Frank is supposedly now might parts of that been over dramatized. I've certainly not seen the real diary myself. I take on faith that the portrayals are accurate of what she said in the diaries. And did she herself perhaps fictionalize a little of it to garner more sympathy? Who knows? But this, to deny the Holocaust is just, again, just
so after
TFO.
So after kind of laying that out, do you see where I've come around to that?
Yeah, I can understand all that. The sub layers, the subtexts that are often in a lot of movies. Whether
of course it's there, yeah.
And you can them up to deliver the messages to those who are open to seeing it, as you said.
And the overall message is meant to be one of positivity, to say, be empathetic to others, to have compassion. And Spielberg talks about that explicitly in the interviews, other cast members as well in the interviews they've done. And tellingly for me, this is why I'm certain that I'm kind of on the right track here. You see David Icke saying, no, you can't have empathy for them. And I'm like, oh man, calm down. By doing that, you're showing that he's right. That's exactly how you feel. That's what you are. And I'm sorry, but it's blowing apart your whole story.
There's empathy, and then there's two books out. There's Toxic Empathy and Suicidal Empathy. Sad just stole the idea of toxic empathy from the author who wrote it last year and released his own version calling it Suicidal Empathy. Yes, you should be emotional, you should have feelings, and you should be empathetic, but there's such a thing as overboard. Don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out, as the saying goes.
So that you don't slit your wrists and,
chop off your nose to spite your face. Those,
of course.
Yeah.
You don't suicidal empathy. You don't invest your entire life trying to save someone who can't be saved because they don't want to be saved. And,
those trying to kill you.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bible, right? There is for everything, turn. There is a season.
Because as you said before, there's good and bad in everyone. And just because you might not hate someone doesn't necessarily mean they don't hate you. So you need to be aware that bigotry and prejudice works both ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's what you choose to be and how you choose to deal with it that defines who you are.
Want to try to win hearts and minds, but indeed at the end of the day, ultimately the Iran situation, when they're chanting death to America day after day, you can't deal with a 12er cultist. It's like in my Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book, the Om Shrin Yoko Christian doomsday cult, the same 12er Shiite Islamic jihadists, Gijas, as I coin them, global Islamic jihadists, interim army soldiers. There's no ability to deal with them. They're always going to lie. They're always going to cheat. They're always going to steal because they are so blinded by their anti-Semitic hate and hate for the West that the only thing you can do to prevent them from killing you is maybe killing them. You've got to put constraints on evil as best you can.
Well, sometimes wars become inevitable because of blind faith or people blinded by emotions. And so we should always think, though, before we act, and certainly take emotions into account. You don't want to be devoid of emotion, love and,
correct,
and hate too. You take it all into account.
We are to love even our enemy as a Christian. That doesn't mean you necessarily tolerate anything they want to dish out your way. Jesus never said always be a sucker. Turn the other cheek means people can have a bad day. Maybe that's not their real character, that they treated you badly. Turn the other cheek. Give grace. It doesn't mean always give it. It doesn't mean that the Old Testament was erased. The death penalty still applies in certain times. It's like it's humans that have screwed this up. The Bible says, turn the swords into plowshare. That's one message. But it also says, Jesus talks about, let those who have a garment sell it to get a sword and prepare for battle. Those two don't contradict each other. They matter in context to certain times and certain places.
Because there is evil out there, and there is also good, and there is darkness
must be confronted.
And light. And everything, here's the way I look at it.
Yin and yang.
And you've got darkness and light, good and evil. And we do have free choice because everything in between,
we were given free will,
everything in between is a mix of all of that. And we have the choice. What do we want to do when we get out of bed? And then we're turn left, turn right, within the parameters of the rules, which is the left, the right, the darkness, the light. I am what I am, but I have the ability as a human being and consciousness and self-awareness. I can make choices. And if I wanted to be, I could be the purest of the purest evil person on earth, or I could be the purest and the most enlightened enlightened and virtuous person on earth. It's a choice. You can be, but everybody's kind of somewhere in between. That's
I love how you said that. And I sent you my Is E.T. Really Here song. I should have sent you my Evil Prevail song. It goes.
Did you send that? Did you send me a song?
Yeah, I sent you Is E.T. Really Here that goes with my book. I sent it to her earlier. Maybe you could still dig that up for the end of the show.
Go find her. Yeah.
But anyway, Rush, since yours is a Canadian show, Rush, Free Will, biblical song. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. You must sow to reap. if you don't sow, we're all choking down the rotten fruit that the evil people choose, again, under free will given by God, to sow in our stead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there it is. I've got the file. Okay, I'll download that and get it ready to crank up for people. And that was one of the things I noticed in the movie theater where I saw it. Maybe I'm just getting old. I thought it was really loud. I was like,
well, I
it's too
saw it in
loud.
the IMAX. Imagine how loud it was. And I sat in the front row of the IMAX. It's loud, but most movies are these days, and I expect them to be.
So what did you think of the effects and the IMAX experience?
I don't know that it's necessary, this film, to see that, because there aren't really, like, to go back to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that kind of degree of special effect for the IMAX to really matter. But you get that hyper quality sound, of course, and that, and it's always nice to see it on as big a screen as possible.
I'll share. I don't know.
I always enjoy looking at Emily Blunt. So seeing her supersized, like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, is pretty cool. That's why I saw that. What was that? The Day After Tomorrow. Her and Cruise, Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, that movie where she was the badass in that film. I love that. That had to do with time issues. I'll see anything that has to do with time travel or intertimental travel. Intertimental.
That's a good word. I like that one. I have to put that in our new dictionary.
Yeah, you should. And remember where you heard it. I coined that years ago before I was even on the show in 2022 with the Irish, the Ufology Irish Society. I was on the show and I shared it with them too. And everybody that hears the term likes it. It just makes more sense. There's interstellar, there's interdimensional. So the sensible other one is intertimental. You move in and out of time.
That's pretty good. I've been
I know I'm not as dumb as you thought I was, am I?
Well, we'll add intertimental to a list of words that I've been collecting here. I made up a couple of words myself. Comblastulate. I made up that word a few weeks ago. Shared that with people. I've got another one that I'm going to reveal in the days ahead. I won't tell people what it is now. Anyway, but that's I think intertimental is.
It just makes sense.
It makes sense. It's a better word than Democrat.
No, well, I've been using that word a long time too. Hashtag DUMB uppercase OCRAT lowercase.
You didn't get it right. Donald Trump had to refine it for you.
He had to remove the B.
B.
Again, there's a lot of things Donald does that he thinks he's the
maybe
first
you could
to
take
ever
that B that he removed.
That's
from
another
Democrat.
one that it is. He didn't think of it.
You should just take the B and carry it like mathematics, right? And new equation. Carry it over to intertimental. Put it behind the M.
Intertimable.
Intertimable. Or time. Yeah.
Intertime bubble.
Intertime.
An intertime bubble. Hey, I think
bubble.
I think we came up with a new term that makes sense because, right, it's like a warp speed. You do an intertime bubble to be able to travel to be intertimental.
Well, so that works, right? Because if you why not? Donald Trump threw away that B. It's free out there. He didn't want it. We'll just pick it up and recycle it.
It's a free range B. Yep.
It's an environmentally friendly word in a linguistic ecosystem. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. So
let's do a quick break and come back.
Okay, yeah, and then we'll do kind of a recap and a sum up and
give you time to download that. And yeah, I need a potty break.
Oh,
Too
well,
much,
there's too
too
much
much
information. We'll be
water.
right,
Yeah,
back.
TMI.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, we're back and just kind of waiting for Joseph to get back into his seat. And he's back. There we are.
Yeah, I meant to mention before, and I forgot, 'cause with the Interterminal, my favorite film is Roland Emmerich's The 13th Floor, because it's part drama, it's part romance, it's part sci-fi, it's part film noir. It's so many elements. But the other film of Roland, Stargate, my favorite TV series was Stargate SG-1, and my favorite episodes in there had to do with interterminal questions. The 2001 episode, the 1969 episode, and there was another couple. And one of the movies, Continuum, had to deal with interterminal travel also.
Well, that's a good word. I like that one. So that kind of brings us to the ending of the movie. And one of the things that I had to,
without too many spoilers, hopefully, we don't want to ruin it.
Well, we've kind of spoiled the movie. So
it's a cliffhanger ending.
It is sort of.
Thing.
It is. It's kind of. And just a note in passing, there's a picture of the alien there, but really, they have not released many images depicting the aliens at all on social media or in the media at all.
It's incorrect, because we expect that the Greys are short beings. Think of, like culturally, Japanese are culturally generally shorter peoples as beings. Well, the Greys often, as far as interstellar or interdimensional or interterminal beings, tend to be shorter. But in the film, the being that they introduce at the end is tall.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the Aryans. And I don't mean Aryan as in Hitlerian sense, or Iran's name comes from Aryan. I mean, they're ultra white, tall, with long gray hair, known as the Aryans, to go with the reptilians, as well as the Greys and all the other. They're potentially like a dozen different potential other beings out there.
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say, was indeed in Genesis the snake really a reptilian being portrayed metaphorically as a snake?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, God knows the answers to these questions. I don't, and I don't presume to know the difference, and I don't presume to speak for God. And all you people that have the hubris to presume to speak for God, STFU and GTFO.
So here's Colin Firth. He portrays the head of Ward X, or the main guy from Ward X, who's
he would be
a government contractor, a company that has been hiding the truth about aliens for the government for 79 years.
He's the stand-in for Bigelow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so and then at the end, as you mentioned, they wheel in this alien, this big tall alien. Here's where the script I think is kind of weak. It's just that some of it just was sort of, it just seemed juvenile and too simplistic to me. So here you've got this group, this kind of rebel group that's out there trying to reveal the truth, and they've got, what was the name of the dude who was like the head dude? Hugo, right? Coleman Domingo playing Hugo. But because he worked at Wardex as the director of biological assets, but then he became a defector, an advocate. And then you've got the people around him and the two main characters, Margaret and Daniel Kellner.
Something happened to the Colin Firth character at some point that Hugo feels he lost his way, and that's why they became.
Oh, they were abusing the aliens and killing them and experimenting on them.
The loss of his wife after the death of
his wife, because he's just lost his. Didn't care about
anything. His moral compass,
right?
And his bearing, yeah.
So, but here's the thing, right? So you go through all of this stuff through the film, right? So you can get the big reveal at the end at a TV station, and this is spoiler alert, okay? You can still watch the movie and still get a lot out of it, even though we're spoiling a little bit of it here for you. But at the end of the film, they've had this alien, this rebel group, right? They've had this alien hanging out with them, and so he makes a call. And he gets the alien down to the TV station so they can wheel him in this like plastic thing, and then they unzip it, and he comes, and here comes this big alien and a sort of it reminded me a lot of like something out of X-Men with Professor X in the wheelchair. This big old alien gets out of the chair, and it's like, you know, my parents have like a recliner that kind of lifts them out of the chair, right? And it lifts them up.
Well, and that was a statement too. They tried to portray old and wise.
Right, whatever.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Joseph. It's like, why didn't they just have the alien just walk down the street or something, or just go to a TV station like a long time? Why didn't
Wardex would have killed him? Wardex would have killed him.
Well, they were trying to kill him here. So, you know, it was, and that was the whole thing through the whole thing. The whole thing through the movie was they got to get to the TV station and got these files. You know, we got to get the files to the TV station to run the videos.
Yeah.
Right. And they're trying to kill them so they can get the files back from the, you know, the main characters. But they had the alien the whole time. You don't even need the files. If you have the alien, just wheel the alien out. Why didn't they just do that?
Yeah. Well, again, you're right. You need a movie. You need a whole movie.
Yeah. It just doesn't add. It's just not
and
good.
The thing that, you know, and you're always expected to suspend your ability of belief on the screen.
Right.
Like they cut the power at the power station. Okay, you would do that. You cut the generator. Of course, you would do that. So the TV screens and the cameras and the computers aren't going to all work by some magic device, Tesla style, emoting electrical current into the air. No, they require electricity to go through a plug to their components. But again, not believable, but you're supposed to be so wrapped in the film at that point that you overlook that can't happen.
Well, you can transfer energy without a wire, but
yes,
you know,
yes.
anyway.
But a wired device isn't likely to power up without flaking out.
Yeah,
because the power isn't being fed the way it's supposed
crystal radio. You ever make a crystal radio?
True. Yeah, that's
you don't
true.
need a battery.
Right.
I made crystal radios when I was a kid. When I was about, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, I'd make crystal radios. And anyway, so that's frequency, man. Just coming back to that, which gets us to the end. She says, at the end, she just says, what was the word? What was the last word in the film?
Listen.
Listen. So, what did you take from that?
I took from that it kind of a bogus movie wasn't disclosing anything. It just wanted to sell tickets.
There is that. Yes, there's that element to it for sure.
You know, it wasn't any, and it's part of Spielberg's spiel, if you will. Right? Yeah. You know, sell the ambiguity. I'm saying, but I'm not saying.
Yeah, that's true. I think it also does this. It ties into the whole empathy thing. So she's saying at the end, listen, because she's there disclosing on television at the time, but she's saying, listen. And it's just because in the interviews that I've seen with, the cast and Spielberg, they've said that at that point, the script says as much as they wanted it to say. And so the message really just is in one word, summing it up, just a single word, saying to people, listen to each other, treat each other well. We shouldn't be shouting, be open-minded, be empathetic to people.
But again, not so open-minded that your brain falls out.
Sure, right. But, but open discussion, dialogue,
open to other points of view.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of truth. Don't be afraid of people who maybe bring you something new, foreign that you don't understand.
Isn't that the scene? She's saying, don't be afraid.
Right. That's right. In coded like alien language.
In an alien dialect. Yes. Because there are some Earth tribes.
That was early in the film, yeah.
Yeah, there are some tribes that speak in clicks. So it's not a foreign language to the planet.
Yeah. Even. And Spielberg said that when they were trying to decide what that should sound like, he didn't want it to sound scary.
Right.
And so that was one of the reasons why, because he didn't want to scare people. He wants people to say, hey, this is probably a real thing. And
if it sounded like a Hitlerian speak in that somewhat nasty sounding German
we are
tone
going to eat your brains and kill all human life on planet Earth. Take us to your leader so we can eat his brain too. Like
Plan 9 from outer space.
And Spielberg's a powerful voice. He has a lot of power behind him, and he has the power of the magic shadows of cinema that he brought forth here, and he can either use it as a force for good or he could use it as a force for evil. And I'm glad that he's trying to bring a message of positivity. Others like David Icke and Alex Jones may think that he's doing people a disservice, or may claim that because they don't want people to have empathy for these alien beings, real, mythical, fake, whatever. They don't want you to have you don't want you to have empathy for them.
Right.
They want you to hate them.
I figured out why I give it a B. I've mentioned several films that are Roland Emmerich films. I really kind of wish this would have been a Roland Emmerich again. The mind that brought us Stargate, and Stargate as a series is going to reboot on Prime in the next couple of years. My favorite TV series. I would have liked to have seen what Roland Emmerich would have done with it rather than Spielberg, I think.
No.
Yeah, not that I dislike Spielberg. I love all the Spielberg stuff too.
And I think I used the wrong word. I said they want you to hate them. No, actually, more to the point, they want you to fear
them. Yes.
Fear them. And that's why earlier in the movie, when they're sort of having this travel back in time, psychologically, mentally, maybe whatever, the two main characters, and specifically David Kellner, the guy who stole the files and was the whistleblower, he goes back in time with Margaret, the other main character, to revisit being captured by aliens. And he's afraid to look because they've blocked it out of their minds, where they'd been sort of experimented on
feared
or
what
whatever.
they might remember. They were
Right, and so
fearful of what they might
wouldn't
recall.
look because he's afraid of the aliens. He was deathly afraid of them, and she actually calmed him when they were kids, when they were sort of abducted or whatever.
Whatever
So,
you do, don't let go.
right, don't let go. And he was afraid, but by the end of the film, of course, he was able to look directly at them, and that's why
And there
it
was a
like
foreshadow to
Yeah.
that. I know you, don't I?
right.
Which you don't know when you'll now, if you see the film now after our spoilers, you'll understand it's a foreshadow for the ending.
So through the lens that I offer, there are multiple layers here of ways to look at this film. You can get a lot of other things
And
from
why
it.
you should see it. Yes.
Yes, I think it is worth seeing for those reasons. I hope and I hope that people take positivity away from it all in the end. And I hope that it also arms people with more information so they can not only speculate about what might be out there and what might be coming in the future in a positive and healthy way, but also to, I think, view the current world, the real world that we live in today, through a critical lens, but also an empathetic lens, so that we think clearly and rationally, even as we acknowledge our emotions.
And another alien movie that's still out there, Hail Mary Project. Very good film. See that too if you get the chance. And the Brandon Fraser one I mentioned, Pressure, about World War II D-Day. Very
There are a bunch of good
film.
flicks coming out, I think, that look good anyway, and including, I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but are we going to review Supergirl? I think that's out next week,
or
right?
as I call it, the ditzy bitch and the cute dog.
Oh, the dog
they
hooked me on the first Superman flick.
Yeah,
really.
oh,
Crypto
absolutely,
and them.
absolutely. But they tried to Batman Supergirl. You know, she's indeed this ditz, this just lazy broad, the proverbial sit around, get high, and play video games kind of chick until you mess with her dog. Like Batman. Oh, you killed his parents. Watch out now. You know, brought into service. You could have left well enough alone, but you didn't.
Yeah, well, there are a bunch of, I think, pretty good summer flicks that are just beginning to hit the silver screen. So Joseph and I will be doing more of these through the summer
I'm
months.
looking forward to Supergirl because of the dog.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right, introduce your tune and take us out tonight.
Oh, Is E.T. Really Here? Based on my Is E.T. Really Here? A really short story available for just 99 cents on US 99 cents, probably $1.25 in Canada on Amazon. Is E.T. Really Here? Take it away.
Okay, and we have copyright permission from Joseph, so please, YouTube, don't ban my channel. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
He never blinks in class. Chalk floats off the glass. Draws a circle, it looks like home, but not the one I know. Dean walks by, antenna smile, clipboard eyes that scan for miles. Every hallway hums my name like something in the walls. Is it really here? In the staff room drinking coffee, are they jamming up my thoughts? Every time I start the story, is my professor beaming back? Every word I'm trying to scream, or is this just every object in horn? Fever dream, fever
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.